Hi, Decoders. Today we're going to share some very simple hacks to keep your energy field sweet, clear, soft during these wild days of the world burning down around us. Hi, I'm Kiran Trace. Welcome to Humans Decoded, a story of hobbits, fairies, elves, dwarfs, gnomes, and humans. If you get lost at any point, there is a deep dive on all the different avatars in episode 1. It includes notes. Thank you for joining us in a fun little chat about the vast potential of our human makeup. Hi, Leela.
Hi, Kiran.
Miss Cam is on a film shoot tonight, so she's not with us, and that's okay.
We're unsupervised, the two of us.
Leela, I gotta tell you that my world this whole week has been like crazy fast, and I'm already a super fast elf.
Yes.
This week has just been, it's like the world is hitting me at like 100 miles an hour, and I'm going 100 miles an hour. But then the world is only going faster. The world's just mirroring my speed. Like, I think I'm speeding to catch up, and then the world mirrors the speed and goes faster, and then I have to go faster to catch up, and then it's going faster. It's like the only way out here is if I stop, so the world can mirror that stop for me.
It kind of sounds familiar, yeah. The last couple of days have been just nonstop going in, it was still in a fulfilling way. It wasn't clunky, but I'm kind of waiting for the clunk, to be honest. I'm like, at some point, there must be a clunk.
I've got so many
Suspicious.
glitches. Oh my Lord. Like that's part of why I can't find the stop button is glitch. But it's not first the world stops and then I can stop.
Exactly. Yeah.
I
It's
have
like,
to stop first.
but it's so hard when there's so much momentum to be like, okay, hang on, everybody. Let's just sit down for a moment.
And it's collective.
Just...
This is the collective field this week. It's such a loud field of unrest and it's just
urgency,
urgency. Yeah, there's
this
urgency in the collective.
So let's talk about energy hygiene. I think that's a really great moment in time to be like, okay, everything's super fast, the world's on fire. Energy hygiene is supportive and helpful.
Gosh. Yes.
And I think the two of us are actually, the best people to talk about it because we might be the most sensitive beings on this planet.
Well, we're part of a group.
One of those?
Part of a group.
Part of the group, for
Decoders
sure.
Decoders are joining us slowly.
Yeah.
You guys are coming in. But there is also a lot of wonderful energy healers and awake,
of course.
There's a big conscious place. But since you're listening to us right now, we both have extensive experience.
Yes, we both have a lot of experience, both when energy hygiene is coming from a place of, oh, it's just delicious, it's just nourishing, or when it's coming from a place of like, ooh, I must do something. I must be, vigilant here.
Yeah, the urgency that is in the collective field can sometimes seep into our practice and we can feel like, oh, it's urgent. I have to. And that ends up just being control, not real hygiene. But I would say that we also have a lot of data of people when they neglect their energy hygiene, and it gets very cruddy and very stuck and very thick, and I think both of us are experts at meeting fields like that. But we also have tons of data when people actually attend to their energy hygiene. And like in this moment, we're in class. So those of us that are in the bigger classes are in my energy healing class. So the first class, which you all hear about, is embodiment. It's that very specific, toolkit to hear those subtle messages from your own body, your own system, your own endocrine system, your own digestive system, whatever. So we give you this really good map. And then you start to build out a whole pathway of how to listen and also what's in the way. And then also you build your own sort of like beautiful sort of templated pathway to stay attuned to it. But the second class we do is the energy healing class, and it's everybody's favorite. And it's this beautiful arch. It always is in the spring. And it's really, I've broken it down to these lovely little hacks, but it's this bigger arch of one sort of beautiful cleaning tool, clearing tool. And throughout that process, we have seen, so much. I mean, I've seen like, well, we've seen like people clear up rashes and maybe like cysts. We've had people who've had chronic cysts, and sometimes cysts in their breasts or challenges there. I had a private client clear up flesh-eating bacteria that she got
Oh my God.
post-surgically. It grew on her system after surgery. And that's people say you can't transform that. She did. She used the energy tools and cleaned that up.
Jeez, that's impressive.
We also have mystery illnesses and diseases. Think about one client who was chronic, could not eat much food. She was hugely, in bed most of the day, unable to walk, really challenged, and tremendous transformation we saw there. I've seen people clear worms, people clear mold, skills. I've seen people build skills through clearing it all, just keeping that field real clear. People who, much more clearer listening to their animals at home, hearing, hearing their children better. Also, I've just seen people be able to like run faster with less pain. Aging.
Yeah, I think
we see aging all the time, right? We talk about that constantly. People come work with us and they take a decade off their face and body. We say that about
that's the
retreat
real
all the time
anti-aging
too.
hack.
Yeah.
Yes.
At retreat, we're always like, we get to retreat and everybody's like, oh, we can see you've been doing the energy healing and stuff. And I remember like one person had this chronic like frown line, and I'd be like, you know what? You just need 2 more retreats and that's all going to be gone.
Yeah, I think for me, the biggest shift, or one of the biggest shifts, was just healing the whole endocrine system with that type of energy clearing tool. So like I don't get any cramps when I'm on my period. I have hardly any PMS, and it just feels like my hormones are really well balanced. And that's all thanks to this just clearing the field. Keeping it nice and spacious.
Yeah. In our class, we do a very in-depth process. This week itself is upgrading the primal survival system from pure anxiety, overwhelm, and like terror, and bringing it into a much more softer, stable, consistent ground. So it's a big deal, but you win big results, and especially over time. But Decoders, let's include you today. Even if you're not in class yet, you can still up level this field and still get a sense of how amazing it is. And I think everybody knows this, because if you walk by someone who's like a hoarder or a homeless person, or even just someone, sitting at the concert beside you, and you're just like, zing, you can feel energetically the way that crud and stuckness, and it can get really um like charged energy that's just awful, even though it's so simple to clear your field, making everything easier. I mean, that's the biggest. It's so simple, and suddenly stress is easier. Modern life is easier. This collective world right now, where there's this huge urgency in the field, it's easier to just like hear it, find the stop, sleep a little better, easier to make friends. I don't know, easier to walk in public corridors. Um, it's it's worth talking about.
Definitely. And just as you're talking now, I'm remembering a client who said she always hated to get up in the morning. She never wanted to get up. And then at some point it just shifted and she was like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. I like getting up now for this day." So
Yeah, yeah,
so clearing the field, it's like it's making it better for you for sure, but then everybody around you also wins. It's like the whole moment is better when your field is better.
yeah.
Clearer, I mean.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You may feel like I don't want to get out of bed in the morning, and it's like just the simplest things, stress, like challenges at the kids' school, I don't know, whatever it is, are breaking you, but actually you are equally polluting that room. That same
Yeah.
space. However, there's a simple tool. So
However,
let's start at the
yes.
basics. Leela, what is energy hygiene?
So I would say it's similar or it's the same as keeping your house just nice and fresh and welcoming, a place where you would want to walk in, whatever that means to you. And it's like, if I walk into your house or your field, is it welcoming me? Is it spacious? Does it smell nice? Or is it already super crowded and sort of cluttery? There's lots of stuff in there, and there's not actually a space or an openness for me to come in or for me, to interact with me or to connect with me because it's all cluttered and crowded and sort of messy. And so I feel like energy hygiene is essentially the same or very similar as brushing your teeth or showering if you're interested in actual connection. It's very, very simple. It's not the super special thing, but it makes it so much more enjoyable, and not just enjoyable, but it makes it possible to connect with a clear field, right? Because otherwise there's just no space for actual intimacy, for this wonderful, loving, nourishing, delicious being together. And personally, I mean, that's what I'm interested in. I'm interested in meeting authentically and really being together. So that means, yeah, if we want to hang out, I need my field to be clear and yours as well. As clear as possible in any moment. Of course, there's moments where it's a mess, but yeah.
I love that image. It's sort of like, is your personal energy field welcome and available? Because this is the beginning of how you connect. And you're talking about connecting to
Hmm.
another person in relationship, but also the moment, and this
Yes.
divine field of presence that we're all a part of, this infinite one field. And life is like, it can be so much additional effort, like that like you're having a hard time getting out of bed, you don't notice that you're also polluting the room. There's this double effort. So
Hmm.
like, if and even like, especially if my field is cluttered and the person I'm in relationship with is not available, as you're saying, like they're just not available. I love that. um it's so challenging, and gosh, this happens all the time. And decoders, I'm sure you notice this. Like, this is the conversation in my kitchen. Kiran, where's the stock pot? Kiran, who's actually busy somewhere else, not really available, yells, "It's in the pantry on the top shelf." And then 2 seconds later, Kiran, where's the stock pot? And I yell again, pantry on the top shelf. It's on the left. 20 minutes later, the person yells out when they're finally in the pantry, where's the stock pot? Like, and then that's the point of like, it's just so depleting. It's just so exhausting, and I'll work for it. I'll start to be like, okay, wait, let's just stop. Are you actually available for my answer? But, listen, decoders, the more I try to be precise with language and try to use it to like overcome an unavailable field, the more I trigger and offend people. Like I say like, hey, are you available for my answer? And they hear, are you stupid? Why are you so stupid? I have not said any of those words. But the unavailable field projects a whole story into it. And it sucks. So when people are hygienically a mess, like their field is a mess, a request for clarity gets interpreted as you've crossed my personal boundaries. You've been rude. You're being rude.
Oh, yeah. That's a favorite.
Oh, yeah. And people, I'm sure you guys know this, when nobody in your family is listening, it's just because nobody's available. And when that's the case, there's just so much more stress being added to a situation.
Yeah, and ultimately it's so stressful to be living inside of your story of whatever it is that makes you unavailable to hearing the moment, to hearing Kieran where the stock pot is. Because that story is so disconnected from actual reality, which is, what unavailable ultimately, unfortunately, means.
Yeah, you're rolling your story.
Yeah.
You're so disconnected from reality. Boom, stress. Okay, so Leela, let's give some folks some tools. There's some really simple ways to keep your energy field spacious and lovely.
Yeah, let's get practical here and not just abstract.
Theoretical.
And, everybody knows I kind of love that. But first of all, I want to say everybody can do energy hygiene. You don't have to be, I don't know, especially gifted or have superpowers or anything. It's very ordinary and everybody's capable. So there's this one really, really simple thing I absolutely love and do anytime actually I'm feeling a bit anxious or vulnerable or a bit like unsure. And I imagine myself, my body sitting in this egg, this cocoon made of golden light. And I see a very specific golden light, but you can use any type of golden light, any type of shade of gold that speaks to you. Like there's nothing that could be wrong. And I just feel this egg holding my whole body, my whole being. And just this, ultimately it's a field of effortlessness, this golden light. And I feel it from the top of the head all the way around to the bottom, to the base, of the spine. And it goes around the sides of the body. And everything is wrapped in this golden egg, as big, the egg can be as big as you want it to be, but not too big, just a cozy cocoon. And you're just so safely sort of floating in that egg. And maybe for you, as you're listening, you can maybe get a whiff of that sense of what that feels like when even your feet are sort of home in this nest of your golden egg cocoon. And that's such an easy thing anytime, maybe you're on a commute, in a train, in a tram, or even when you're driving, to just almost like dial your field back to hmm, effortlessness. And then continuing from there is it's such a different experience. Like whatever you're doing, it's very different when you're sitting in your golden egg to then go off the train into the city or into your meeting, as opposed to when you're stuck with your anxiety or your stress or your worries. So that egg just washes it all nicely away.
I love this. Yeah. Something that you're talking about, and I think it's really important, is that energy moves via your intention. So it's not like effort or force. And that really weirds people out. Like intention isn't enough, like it's just an idea. But it's more than enough if we're talking about moving energy.
Mm,
Intention is the right force required. So, you know, some people are really imaginative, so they can imagine that golden egg and they can really see that golden light,
mhm,
especially if you like take some time, like take a good 5 or 7 minutes with this. Even in like the 3 minutes that you mentioned it, I think there's a little trickle of availability, and then so imagine that being 5 minutes long or 10 minutes long, or how long
mm,
is your
yeah.
commute, a half an hour. um and like some people, it's a real felt sense. They're not imaginative, but they can feel. So they can
Mhm,
feel that sunlight, or they can feel that light, and then they can feel that cocoon. And then just to like, I love that idea of like harnessing that anxiousness or agitatedness or whatever, and just like actually moving it into this place
mm,
is really sweet. You know, one of the really sweet energy hack that I offer people is this grounding technique. I love this. I picked this up. I picked the imagery for this up from Logan Griffin, who's this lovely person that I love. I just love Logan, a friend and energy healer and fun guy. Um, okay, so we're in our cocoon of eggs, and maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Play with it. But what you're gonna do is you're gonna just take a second and see if you can just sense your feet. So it lets you put your awareness down to your feet. And from your feet, maybe you can feel your toes. Maybe you can feel the sensation of what your foot is touching. If it's a sock or
mm,
a sandal or the ground or your carpet or and then from there I'm like, imagine the floor and sense the floor. And then what's under the floor? So the floor is sitting on this like dirt, let's say the earth, the earth underneath, the structure of your house. So even if you're on the top floor of an apartment building, get all the way down to the earth that the
mm,
apartment's on. So just feel that dirt right there, that dirt field. And those of you guys that are quite sensitive or practice a lot of energy, you're already grounding. It's already occurring. And if this is new to you, don't worry about it. Just feel that dirt. And then from the dirt,
mm,
you get to feel a little bit deeper down into the earth, where there's these stalactites. Those the crystal element of the earth. So again, you can imagine it or you can feel just like moving down, letting your feet move all the way down. And it doesn't even have to be like you move your feet, right? It's just this intention. It's just you felt
mhm,
the dirt. Now you come deeper into the crust of the earth, and right at the crusty, just below the crust, are these minerals, these beautiful minerals. And then we're going to plug ourselves even deeper down to this like volcanic, warm, fiery center of the earth. And this is a great way to just plug ourselves in. So just again, like you feel the floor, you feel the dirt, you feel that crystal layer just past the crust, and now that hot lava center. And that's just a really fun one to play with, taking a moment. And you can stay in your golden egg cocoon to do it. You just get to ground, like plug it in, like
Oh, oof.
from that golden egg.
It's so delicious. I love that so much. And, whatever you're feeling is perfect. You might feel it a lot, you might feel it a little. It's subtle. And even if you don't feel it, it's happening. And, presence, it's always doing its thing. Presence meaning the one field, the source field, whether or not you're directly noticing it. And saying it's doing its thing is saying it's always in any moment, constantly recalibrating everything, like the whole field, back to its original state, its state of effortlessness. One could also say, divine order. So that's always, 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 always going on, regardless of what it looks like in the mirror, externally. And another little supportive hack when we're talking about energy hygiene is smells. I think we mentioned it in this podcast before that Kiran always walks around in this waft of lavender.
Are you?
I walk around in like patchouli. And we both used to, or I still do, like carry around spray bottles with various essential oils. And that's just helping to, wherever you go, wherever you walk into, bring the field up a little bit or a lot.
Those essential essences, whether it's lavender or patchouli, like they actually have, you can measure their, their where they sit in the field, and they're usually quite up leveled. And that's why, like for me, it's really lavender. For you, it's really patchouli. They're different levels that match our personhood. So whatever
Yes.
smell is really delicious to you, maybe it's lemongrass, maybe it's eucalyptus, maybe it's pine, or
Orange blossom.
orange blossom. Yeah, exactly. Like that smell, I love it. It's so simple.
Yes.
That's the point, is that energy healing and clearing is very simple, but it can be enormously profound. And there's not a lot of things in life like that, honestly, except for source itself, the field itself, which is reality, except for reality, which is really simple, but enormously
Very
powerful.
profound. I love that.
Yeah. So this is the thing, like energy hygiene doesn't require a lot of technical skills or certifications or it's just like understanding the field, your field, the collective. You don't even have to don't actually, you know what? It's no, you don't need anything more than that. Just your field. Because this presence, our presence, which is a component of divine presence, we're really capable of knowing. And then the deeper your connection, then the deeper the connection to source field. And that's the big power. The separate self, like a little separate me, trying to do this. When we talked about it, you were saying like it's like feeling this urgency and like I have to do something. That's so less powerful. That's that complication, like as soon as there's a me that is doing something in order to, that's all the ways that we undermine the power of something that's just so simple. Yeah, so also feel like it's worth mentioning that people think that like on the, like we're sort of being like, hey, you guys, this is really simple, it's easy to do. But some people are like, hey, this is the solution. Like I've been doing, like, this is the whole thing right here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know?
Solution for everything, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna do this for everything.
Yeah.
You know, like that's that like
Yes.
major smudges at the ceremony and the you know, like and whatever. Like we have like with a ceremonial cacao for everything and like all these crystals and all, you know, like this is the solution. It's not. Reality is we would both say that reality is the solution.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're coming from that place where you think it's the solution, dude, it's like what a lot of maintenance. I mean that's the maintenance, right? Like the crystals, the smudges, the constantly they're like, wait, I can't go to this event and oh, I have to,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh
like
God.
spray myself with the patchouli in order to, you know, like whoa. So if you're not doing the bigger work, which is the reality work, you're going to be making this work too complicated, too much
Mm-hmm.
effort. So again, the energy moves via intention. And if you are feeling like you have to do this and there's a vigilance, can you feel like that's already too much force?
Yeah.
That's too much force. And that's actually going to leave this confused, scattered field, right? Like if I apply control, it adds this element versus just my intention, right? So just if there's just this golden light and I'm floating in this while I'm touching dirt, okay. If I have to see the dirt, there's an extra effort being added to it, right? Or if I can't find the gold, so I'm putting an image in my head, there's too much effort. And intention is what moves it. And I would also say the other thing that sometimes people do is they reach into the universe. The universe has your back. The universe is it. Oh, good gracious, no. That is a big, big, big world, the universe. And I cannot tell you, people, if I had a dime for every person's field, I had to clean up because they spent whatever this class with this, you know, universe expert, and the field is constantly, if you're constantly reaching out into the universe, right? This is so much effort. Can you feel that effort? And that field becomes so thin and so stressed, and it's so out of proportion to your own sweet little energy field. And this happens all the time. I run into this constantly where I just have to be like, dudes, we gotta come back. Come back.
Yeah, I mean, I know exactly what that feels like in myself as well, to be just stretched out too far. And then it's so sweet to come home to like to your actual, what is it? The size of your field in a way, right?
Your
It's
energy
so
field
delicious.
is
Yeah.
in space is So the other thing that people do is they pull stuff into them. No, do not do that. Foolish. Or what I'll say, not so skillful. Because you don't want your beautiful little field to be the same as the earth field, right? So when I'm talking about this, we're feeling the dirt. We're not pulling the dirt energy up into us, right? Like you hear that with people all the time, like just bring that energy from the earth and pull it all the way. It's like, nah, like that crystal or that hot lava or even just the dirt, it has its own vibe. It has its own frequency. We're not pulling it into it. I'm not pulling lavender field into me. Like so just like it's lovely to feel the dirt. It's lovely to feel the crystal stalactites. Don't pull it in and don't go out to something. Like, it's
Mm.
so simple. It's so simple. And people love to just add this extra effort and complicate the field.
Mm. I love that so much. It's like it's so safe to just keep your own home. Like don't add to your sort of home field in a way. It's leave the dirt in its own home field or however you want to call that. And it's like your field is actually the clearest when it's this pure, authentic expression of you, when it's just you. Like there's nothing to add, there's nothing to subtract, and it's that is it. And I totally agree. It's like intention and awareness is the most powerful thing here. You don't need any fancy technique. And what's funny is a couple of years into already doing energy healing from a place of quite moving quite intuitively, I'd say. I did this training in a more, formal, old school way of energy healing, where you use your hands to move these aura things. And it's like, okay, I see what you mean, but that's too much work. It's too much technique, it's too much effort. And um but I can see there, and as well as in myself, like it's so easily taken over by control. As we said, it's so easy that fear sneaks in and says like, where's my golden egg? If I'm not sitting in my golden egg,
Where's the dirt?
I
I don't feel the
must be
dirt between my
not
toes.
safe. I'm not grounded enough. Oh my God. I cannot go outside into the world like this. So I'm very guilty as charged, right? So for years I would ground obsessively, I would smudge obsessively, I would be very invested in, I don't know, all kinds of stuff, energy clearing. Innocently so, but it's completely unnecessary because, as Kiran keeps saying, it's simple, guys. It's so simple. It's simple. It's simple. And then I remember when I moved into this house here in Ticino, before I really moved in, I came here with a couple of friends and they were like, "Oh, do you want us to clear the house energetically?" And I thought, well, sure, if you want to. But then it ended up being such a strain on their system. It was so much effort. And I noticed afterwards how then, to me, it felt like it's not needed because Source, the one field, is already clearing the house. There's no extra bit needed from my side. And nowadays, I still smudge occasionally, but that's what I feel like. It's like, yeah, presence, the field, Source is already clearing everything constantly. Like, there's nothing to do here for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if the field is heavy and you moved into your house, you're not adding
Yeah.
more, you're not constantly logging heavy hours of anxiety and overwhelm into that field. Your field is
Mm.
clear, your practice clears you, source is
Yeah.
clearing the house. And maybe it takes 3 months,
Yes.
maybe it takes 6 months for the house to resonate at your field. And that's okay. Where are we going? What's the urgency? Yeah.
Right.
I
As
remember
you tend to say, we're here for eternity, babies.
I remember being at a ceremony in the forest and someone was like smudging, smudging, smudging. I was like, dude, like,
Outside.
yes, in the big redwoods.
Oh,
But it's easy to override the simplicity of what the
definitely.
essence is, you know? And I will say that fairies and elves, it's easy. The softness of an intention, they can get quickly. Now, sometimes
Mm.
fairies are used to like that emotion. They move through, we talk about that essence or an emotion, and an emotion is heavier, like think
Mm-hmm.
rage or
Mm-hmm.
shame or, like it's a heavy effort, And so something just like intention, which is quite light, if it's like, wait, that might not be enough, but it really honestly just takes fairies and elves just a second, just a bit of skillful play, and they can find it. But the hobbits, it's much more challenging because for a hobbit, they're using touch and the felt sense to move through the world, and that is a lot. That's a different frequency, right? To actually
Mm-hmm.
reach out and hug somebody is really
Yeah.
different than if I just have an intention to, like, I was going to say the intention to hug you, but it's like the intention is even rolled back. It can be even simpler than that. It's just to connect
Mm-hmm.
with you, right? And it's
Yeah.
just like, it's really just the connection. Which can just feel like warm. It can literally just be like warm in my heart. It can just be playful. It can actually just come out it can just be like looking at you with a smile,
Yeah.
right? Like there it is, right? And so the intention, it's so easy to walk past that into something with a
Yeah.
little bit more effort. And then of course our beautiful gnomes get really complex. They turn it into an actual substance, like they're gonna get all the techniques, and pull it in there. And of dwarfs that can pass them by too. But like, you know, think, if you're a dwarf, think ninja, like swift, fast, silent,
Oof.
intention, think that hunter listening to the forest, like all of our avatars can pick this up. Humans can be super attached to the trend, and so they have like 7 diffusers in their house, and it's overkill. It's like washing their house, like washing the walls with bleach and with a smeller and with like this extra scent. Like people do their laundry like that. They'll do Tide and a dryer sheet and a fabric softener. It's like overkill. If it's energy, if it's energy, it's very, very simple.
Mm.
And your own sensations are which isn't to say it may not take practice to be that simple. It might take practice to be that aware of that subtler field of energy. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah.
Definitely. I mean, the simplicity of reality and the simplicity of this is what makes it, among other stuff, challenging because the mind loves complex shit. But this is not of the mind, this is of awareness, right? It's awareness is intention, it's not the mind's intention, which is a little different, right? It's even more effortless. And ultimately, I don't know, energy hygiene or just a clear field. Oh gosh, is it nourishing? It's so beautiful and delicious. It's definitely not a place where vigilance is needed.
No.
Or, yeah.
And it's so cool because it's like, it's gentle, it's effortless, or simple, and wow, it can really help depression. Wow, it can really transform overwhelm. Wow, can
Mm-hmm.
it really make an impact on anxiety? When these things
Mm-hmm.
are crashing in on you, dude, 20 minutes of a golden egg and grounding. Poof, that can be the difference between a pause or a crash. So, everybody, book a session with Leela. Come into class.
Yeah, join us over here. I mean, I work with a lot of people who are very collapsed with this lack of mental well being or have mental health issues, and just regularly washing their fields in source energy is making a huge difference. It's incredible. Like, I've had a client saying the other day, you know what, this morning I walked around and for the first time in my whole life, and that's almost 40 years, I haven't had any pain in my body. It's like, whoa, cool.
I watch that in your clients too all the time. The thing I witness about your sessions is like, even if a client's like really stuck and they can't feel the subtle sensations or feel anything, or if they're actually like unwilling, like Like the thing about you is you can
Yep.
get past the unavailability. It's incredible. I always say like you sort of come in their back door and you somehow get under those deep, heavy layers and you start to sort of like change that system. Not you changing it, but like washing it
Mm-mm.
in this love that sort of like somehow you're moving like deep through the undergrounds, and shifting the whole lymph and blood flow, like, and then that actually is shifting the whole hormone and the hormone is the emotional level. So it's sort of like, let me
Mm.
pattern that for you guys again. So it's like, I feel like Leela always like gets right down deep. Like she kind of comes in under it. And so if she's like shifting that, the lymphatic flow or shifting like that sort of blood flow, it's actually
Mm.
impacting, and then that starts to shift the harmony of the whole system. And you just that's what you're saying, like just washing it in this clear field, in this beautiful divine presence, just
Mm.
washing it and washing it, you begin to actually start to shift. We talked at the beginning that clunky, sometimes very heavy, sometimes really even charged, like sparky charged.
Yeah.
All of that starts to shift. And the thing, I just love that about your work because it's so deceptively powerful. It just feels gentle. It's just like, well, every Saturday morning I just have a little float in love with Leela, like that's what I'll hear. And I'm like watching these enormous transformations, like 3 months, 6 months, like 6 months down the road. Like I can think of so many of your clients that it's like, dude, they're like, I don't know, I just have this float on Sunday with Leela. And it's like, like you have a smile on your face. You had an
Yeah.
entire week. There was no meltdowns. There was no chaos from people who were really stuck under it. So, anyway, blah, blah, blah. Thanks for joining Leela and I on our yap. We could talk for 100 more hours and we'll probably do another one
Definitely.
anyways.
Yes.
Linked below, you will see, well, packages for Leela sessions or our classes. Hey, you guys, I wanted to ask you too, can you review our podcast? We've been told we need more reviews. And you know what we're going to do? Your reviews, the best ones, are going to get a little gift from us. You're going to get a little gift from us. So
Oh my God.
do include your handle or your email if you can on your best review. Otherwise, if you want to post anonymously, post the review and then send it to us through outreach at KiranTrace.com. Anyways, we love you. Bye, 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 bye.
See you next week. Thanks for joining us. Bye.
Thank you for listening. We obviously love hearing what you think. Your feedback helps us make a better show for you to listen to. So feel free to comment, and you can do it at Facebook, which is the Humans Decoded podcast. And if you're not on social, you can always email any questions to us at outreach@KiranTrace.com. And thanks for listening. We love you.